Australians know that their home is their castle, but across the country right now, hundreds of people are being forced off their land by coal seam gas companies.
Dane Pratsky is an ordinary bloke who decided to take a stand against the $70 billion industry. Under the pseudonym Frackman, Dane has become the face of Aussie resistance. And he's the star of a documentary released next week that has united none other than Bob Brown and Alan Jones. Go figure. Take a look.
Sit down as you listen to this. 437 million hectares of Australia is covered by coal seam gas licences or applications.
One day a guy drove down my driveway and said, "I'm Queensland Gas Company. We're going to sink a well down the back of your place, and if you don't like it, there's nothing you can do about it." Our land sat on top of billions of dollars worth of gas, and the industry, we're going to stop at nothing to get it.
They all say it's safe. I have to live here.
I think nearly every kid in this estate's sick.
There's hydrogen sulphide in the air. That's what's making everyone sick.
Blood just pours out of his
You
nose.
see your friends like this when I actually get angry.
There's nobody out there to help us.
I wasn't born into this kind of thing. I used to cut down trees, drive a diesel four-wheel drive, and harvest kangaroos. I'm the worst environmental activist this world's ever seen. But in the end, I realised that it was the only way to get something done.
And Frackman himself, Dane Pratsky, joins us in the studio. Good morning to you, Dane.
Thanks for having me.
It's a 5-year journey covered by this film of castle-like proportions. Ordinary bloke, the South East Queensland coal companies and fracking companies. What caused that transformation? Was it the personal aspect that got you in?
It really was. Once it came to my doorstep, I actually realised what I was in for, and not just myself, what a lot of Australians are in for. So, with a group of friends, we decided to make a stand, and we did well, we think, but the coal seam gas industry rolls on, and Australians need to take a stand, and that's why I did, and they made a film about it.
Now, for those who don't know, fracking involves sinking a well into the ground and forcing down a mixture of sand, water and chemical additives to release more gas. What are some of the problems that come out of that procedure?
Well, what we find is the well integrity. So the well casings crack, and these well casings are supposed to last for forever, but they don't. It's steel and cement, and we know, anybody knows, that will not last forever. And the migration then from the fracking chemicals can then migrate into usable aquifers where the farmer's using for crops and also for their cattle, and some people drinking. So the risks are large, and it's an inherently dangerous process.
Look, I've got mixed feelings about this, I've got to admit, Dane. I've been to a number of properties in Queensland that have coal seam gas wells on them. They're extremely discreet. They take up much less room than an open-cut coal mine. They do, if done properly, the independent studies show that it is in fact far less dangerous to live with coal seam gas than it is with open-cut coal mining. Your problem is that you're not convinced people are doing it properly.
I doubt those independent studies. What we find is they're industry-stacked studies.
No, I'm talking about government studies that are done independent of industry.
Well, once again, the CSIRO have just done a recent study themselves, and if you read the basis of how that study was done, the industry actually led the CSIRO to the gas wells that they wanted inspected, and hence came the result. And that is also a part of the CSIRO that is funded by the industry. So the independence of those guys, I wish I could believe it, but I don't.
How much of the emotion that you feel around this is because somebody came into your property, you had no say in it. Basically, there is a law in this country where they can come and drill, they can come and experiment. How much of it is that, and how much of it is that inherent danger that you talk about, your concerns around that, and children getting sick and so on?
It's a bit of both. When someone comes to your house, you expect to invite them in, and they act in a way that is favourable to them being in your home. Well, that's not the way the industry has worked for many of us. They've bullied us, we've been harassed. Some people's businesses are going down because they can't seem to coexist with the industry, and the industry likes to talk about coexistence. It's very difficult to coexist with coal seam gas wells and the infrastructure. It's not just the well. you've got pipelines and you've got roads, and we're talking, you know, people trying to run another business while that's happening. It's difficult. And then the science side of stuff and the risks, you know what I mean, they are also worrying. And we see it with the Condamine River. It's bubbling at the moment. It was never bubbling before. How do we know that? You know, we've had people that have lived there for generations and generations, and it was never bubbling. So the government comes out and says, oh, well, we're not entirely sure, but what we do know is the locals on the ground, they know the land and they know that it wasn't there beforehand. And it's you know, it's what I feel is a problem.
It's a fascinating social phenomenon as well, the way it has managed to unite such disparate groups. You know, greenies, farmers, conservative political commentators, all on the same team with this.
It is amazing, you know, when you've got Bob Brown, as you said, and Alan Jones talking the same language, there obviously is a problem there. So Alan Jones has been fantastic for us. He's been out to the Darling Downs and he's seen it. The guy's an intelligent man and he knows what it's about. So Bob Brown, obviously the Greens are really against it, and it's for very good reason.
Okay. And just finally, you felt forced to sell your home, which was massively devalued.
It was devalued, and yes, I put it on the market, but the industry ended up buying my property in the end, unfortunately. But what I found in 1 year, the bare land value went from $113,000 to $77,000. So that's a huge decrease. I rang the valuer general and asked why, and he said, oh, it was the GFC. Now, if it was the GFC and we all lost that percentage on our homes, we would have gone into instant recession. So,
But you get paid per well as a
you do get
licence
paid per
fee,
well.
right?
I know someone who gets $265 a well per year, and someone who gets $5,000. So, but the inconvenience doesn't pay for having them on your land.
All right, Dane.
Dane, it's a fascinating thing. Frackman is the movie, and it'll be available to watch online from next week. We'll have the details on our website, so you can have a look and come up with your own theory on that.